So we're continuing on with our triangle unit. If you see over here on the sliding whiteboard to the left of the smartboard, we have all the assignments we've done so far from Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So yes, we did do an assignment yesterday. If you didn't finish, you probably have time today to finish. There are notes in the bin if you missed it, all that good stuff. We'll go over the quizzes probably tomorrow after everyone finishes them today, right? So, looking up here, still no shave November, getting burly, hair's curly. Yep. So, but anyways, you like my new little GIF right here? GIF. All right. Well, anyways, make sure you turn in classifying triangles, classifying using the distance formula, triangle sum theorem, and triangle inequality practice. Those are the 4 assignments so far. Today, we're going to do side, angle, triangle, inequality. Looks like this, right? Now, you may have already filled it out, which is cool. If you put the angles in order from greatest to least, so the biggest angle you should see is 74 degrees. Okay. And then the next biggest angle you see, 58 degrees. And then the next biggest angle you see is 48 degrees, right? Now, if you wrote down the numbers, that's fine. But on top of them, let's put the angle name. When you name an angle, you use the letter next to it, right? You can either use 3 letters, or you can just use the 1 if it's by itself. That's what we're going to do. So 74 degrees is what letter? B. Capital B. And then 58 degrees is what angle? A. And then 48 degrees, C. Okay? So that's angle sign B, comma, angle sign A, comma, angle sign C. See how that works? Now, the sides in order from greatest to least, again. So what's the greatest side? 18 units. And then the next biggest side would be 15 units. And then we have 13 units. Now, below it, we can go ahead and write the names of these things. Now, usually you don't label a segment with 1 letter, but in this case, I did. So, 18 has a what little lowercase letter next to it? B, lowercase b, right? Now, instead of B, we would typically write it as AC, right? Because this segment is from A to C. Either way, okay? So there's 2 ways to write it. You can write it as just a lowercase b, or you can write it as AC. Now 15 is lowercase a, or we could write it as BC. And then 13 is lowercase c, which is AB, okay? So we're putting them in order, okay? And we want to notice something. So the sentence right here says, what do you notice about the relationship between the greatest angle and the greatest side? So again, what was the greatest angle? 74 degrees. And what was the greatest side? 18. What's the relationship between those? What's the relationship? Are they next to them or across from it? Across from them. Thank you so much. The biggest angle is across from the biggest side. Let's see if it continues to do that, right? What's the middle angle? Angle A, right? What's the middle side? It was that 15 units long. What's the relationship between that angle and that side? It's across from each other, right? Is everyone looking up here instead of on phones or listening to music? All right, so last one, the smallest angle, 48, and the smallest side is 13. Again, what's the relationship? It's across, okay? So, biggest side is across from the biggest angle. Smallest side is across from the smallest angle. So everything is in order. Make sense? So that's what we're going to call the side angle inequality conjecture. Okay. So how should we word this? What do y'all think? Yeah, that's great. Instead of saying big, we'll say greatest. Okay. So the greatest side is across from the greatest angle It's the same for the middle and least. Meaning the middle angles across from the middle side, the smallest angles across from the smallest side, or we call it the least. Okay? So from greatest to least, again, greatest angle across from the greatest side, middle angles across from the middle side, least angles across from the least side. Okay? So we're going to use that information when we do some practice here in a second. But that's called side angle and triangle inequality. All right? So that's one thing we're doing today. I'm not going to move it, but if you look at the bottom, we want to talk about Isosceles Theorem. Okay? So the Isosceles Theorem, and I should have had more room for this, but basically the Isosceles Theorem says two equal sides gives you two equal angles. Kind of makes sense. If I got two equal sides, I'm going to get two equal angles, and vice versa. Okay? So these four examples down here, we're going to use them to solve. Let's do that together here. No, don't move the video. Let's move the, there we go. Moving it down just a little bit. All right, looking at this first triangle on the left, what kind of triangle has all equal sides? What is it? No, three equal sides. What's that called?
Equilateral.
Equilateral. All right, thank you, Miss Merrill. All right, equilateral. Now, that means what about all these angles? Equal sides, equal angles. And if one of them's 60, they're all 60, right? Now, and I want you to know this. Every equilateral triangle, the angles have to be 60, all three of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't add up to 180. Don't they have to add up to 180, right? So if that's 60, guess what x is? 60, right? So x equals 60 if it's equilateral. Okay? So on the next three, we're going to talk about the isosceles. So that was equilateral, just so you know. Equilateral is always 60 on the inside. Let's talk about isosceles over here. I have a triangle. I see two equal sides. So if it's two equal sides, that means also two equal angles. So you go across, that has to be equal, and you go across, and that has to be equal. So if this angle on the left is 69 degrees, guess what the one on the right is? 69 degrees. Do you see how that works? If you know it's isosceles, then you know those two base angles are equal. They're the same. Now, how do I figure out x if I know two of the angles are 69? Add them up, subtract from 180. So I could write 69 plus x equals 180. Add up my two constants over here, and I get 138. And then we subtract from 180. What's 180 minus 138? 42. Okay, sorry. All right, now the next one. I don't see anything about the sides, but I see that these two angles are equal. So that means these sides have to be equal. So if that side is 6, what is x going to be? 6, because equal angles, equal base angles, gives me equal sides across. So x has to equal 6. Doesn't matter what the other side is at this point. Okay, so x equals 6. And then on this next one, all right, I see 2 equal sides. And we just said, if I got 2 equal sides, then I got 2 equal angles. So if this is 75, then this is also going to be 75, right? Now, this says angle 2 is 4x plus 14. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that in for angle 2. If it tells me angle 2 is 4x plus 14, then this right here is 4x plus 14. So here's how you set this up. Okay, I'm going to separate this. I'm going to have 75 plus 75 plus, and what's angle 2 supposed to be? 4x plus 14 equals 180. Okay? So it's kind of weird. That third angle, it tells me to put an expression there, but that's okay. So let's do that. 75 plus 75 is 150. Or sorry, back up. 75 plus 75 plus 14 is 164 plus 4x equals 180. Get rid of the loner, minus 164 minus 164. 4x equals 16. Divide by 4. X equals 4. It's kind of fast, but that's stuff we've been doing before. Okay. So you're probably going to see one of those on your assignment. Okay. So if we go to the back real quick, we got some examples of how to do these before we do them on our own. So let's go through this real quick, and if you need to come back to this page, we'll do that in a minute. Okay. So on the back side, number 1, put the sides from shortest to longest. So the shortest side is across from the smallest angle. The smallest angle is angle 30, right? So across from 30, what's the name of this side right here? FG. Okay? FG goes first. Then the next biggest angle is 32. Across from 32 is GE. And then the last side we have, across from the biggest angle, 118, is FE. So when you get to the assignment, you're going to see something like that. That's how you put them in order. Number 2, ordering the angles from smallest to largest. Again, smallest side, across from the smallest side is angle R. What's the middle angle? The middle side is 9, so across from 9 is angle T. And then the longest side is 12, across from 12 is angle S. Okay? So we can similarly do number 3, like we did number 1, except it's shortest to longest, right? So the shortest side is across from the smallest angle, WU. The middle angle, 63, that's going to be VW. And then the longest is across from the biggest angle, that would be VU. Okay. And then the last 3 are like our notes. And there's those 3 filled out. You can pause it and check it out on the video.